What's up, everybody, and welcome to the Dave Knows Comics live stream. I'm your host, David Lee, and today we're going to have a fun episode, but definitely a quick one at that, because there's this nutty theory, or hypothesis to be more accurate, that I've come up with that I decided we needed to talk about here on the show, because I'm wondering, am I alone on this? And I'm also very surprised that nobody that I know of, at least, has brought this up or has decided to talk about this. Ben Espinoza, what is up? True Sinister, good to see you as always. What is up, my friends? Thank you for being here. Now, yeah, the play, Arthur Pryor, the film, not the play. Although, perhaps, maybe the play too. Good question there, buddy. Hey, Vinny Montana, my man, got a big shout out from the people behind Arrow. Got to talk to them over on the Twitter machine, right, Vinny Montana? Celebrate the win. I almost said separate the win. Celebrate the win. All right, so good. Everybody following in. Thumbs up off the bat. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Love to see that. I'm not getting the connection. I know you're not Arthur Pryor. Don't worry, we will be getting into it. But let's talk to everybody. Let's welcome everybody into the stream, everybody into the show. First, let's say hi to all of our friends, especially since, again, it's going to be a quick episode. Got works to do over for the wrestling channel later on today. Going to be doing some filming for that later on. Working on another thing for you guys to know. I may talk about it more on the wrestling live stream later on tonight. I'm not sure what time I'm coming on. A lot of things are happening wrestling related. Let's go. Like, a lot of stuff is happening right now in the studio, so I'm going to be working on several different things. So I wanted to, but I definitely wanted to get this. Definitely want to put this theory, this hypothesis out there. Want to get this out there and see what you guys think, because yeah, going to be doing a lot of work for it. So I'm making sure there. So, and I'm not 100% sure on how the whole wrestling stream is going to work later on today, but I wanted to make sure this is going to happen. All right, so Garmin says, I'm sad Arrow is about to be over, but Oliver Queen is the GOAT. All right, that's Garmin, that's what he says. Okay, so yeah, live stream, might as well acknowledge a few comments before we get into the topic of the day. I think Arrow's run its course. I think it's ending at the right time. I think everything's going in the right direction. I think it makes sense. Yeah, it's going to be sad to see it go if you're a fan, but, you know, that's the way TV shows work. All right, the executive producer, Mara Guggenheim, answered my question about the Green Arrow statue for the final episode. See, isn't that pretty cool? So, yeah, that's what's great about social media. If you really like a show, or there's people behind something that you really want to talk to, get their insight about it, you can always ask them, and you never know. They may respond to you, so that's pretty cool. So, yes, Vinny Montana, that is really, really cool. All right. So let's get into it. And again, thank you for the thumbs up, and thank you for being here. So here is the hypothesis I'm going to drop on all of you. Well, let's look at a few little... Did cats ruin Wonder Woman? Let's look at a little bit of insight here. Now, the film Wonder Woman, the sequel to the 2017 film Wonder Woman 1984, is coming out. But some people don't remember that it was originally set to premiere already. November 1st, 2019 was actually supposed to be when this movie hit, but it's been delayed all the way to June 5th, 2020. Over 6 months. What could be the story behind this delay? Now, the official reason behind this, now, again, I just want to throw this out. This is just something I'm speculating on. It is not something that is confirmed in any way, shape, or form, and I really don't have... And I really don't know if this has to play. I'm just asking the question, throwing it out here to the members of the Know It All Nation. See what you guys have to think. And even if it's not, maybe it should be. Okay, so let's get to the comments real quick. Vinny Montana also says, when we get on the wrestling chat, you do predictions for World Collide. I will try to. Again, a lot of stuff getting filmed today, a lot of stuff getting worked on, a lot of projects going on wrestling-wise today. A bunch of stuff, but I'll talk more about that on the live stream. I will very much try to get on. I'll probably come on today. I don't know when, but I'll try to come on. It depends. Maybe normal time, maybe not. It depends on how things line up. Anyway, so going back to the comment. Oh, yeah, Arthur Price says, oh, because they didn't want any part of the opening weekend. No. Okay, so they pushed everything back over, like, that's over 6 months away, over 7 months away for the Wonder Woman sequel. Now, the legit reasoning behind this is the studio said that they were looking to put Wonder Woman as a summer blockbuster where it belongs. They said the initial November date was where they were looking to put things, but now they realize summer blockbuster. Wonder Woman deserves to be a summer blockbuster. Let's put her there. Now, that does make sense. However, let's remember that when they announced the Wonder Woman sequel, they were the ones who decided to put it there in the first place. Why choose the November date if you think that it's time she deserves to be a summer blockbuster? Well, you're the ones who picked it. Why'd you change it? Like, you could have just picked summer to begin with. How come you chose to put it in November 2019? What was the decision behind that? Don't know. But something else I want to consider, and I don't think anybody has been mentioning this, is let's look at something here. Because while we know we know there are going to be multiple plot threads here, one in particular is this one. Certain potential villain played by Kristen Wiig. Now, this is what she looks like. Now, maybe she's going to be a villain in the story. Maybe she isn't. Now, I'm just going to kind of get to it because I'm sure you guys are already figuring out where I'm going with this. So, Kristen Wiig is playing the character of Cheetah from the comic books. And as you can see, she doesn't look anything like this. Kristen Wiig looks like this in this movie. So what could this have to do with anything? Well, I'm wondering if maybe the 7-month delay, now this isn't a short delay, it's a huge delay, might be to avoid this. Could it be? Now, okay, fine. The movie Cats did come out after they already announced the delay, but there was a lot of backlash from the trailer about Cats and how terrible this looked, and a lot of the sissies on the internet crying that this is haunting my nightmares. You know how I feel about people complaining about CGI haunting their nightmares. I know that hopefully at least most of you guys are kidding when you say that, but I think when you say, oh, the Sonic the Hedgehog gives me nightmares, it's going to haunt my dreams, it's like, yo, seriously, you need to toughen up a little bit. But I know it's all jokes. But from the trailer release and even the early concepts that were released about Cats, there was a huge amount of backlash. People just talking about how terrible it looked, how stupid this seemed, and while the technology may be there, it is not something that was meant to be used for this in any way, shape, or form. So my question is, when we know what Cheetah looks like in the comics, and we have not seen Kristen Wiig all cheated out, could there be a reason behind this? Could it have to do with Cats? And now look, they might be saving it for a big reveal at the end. That's always possible. And there's also the possibility, since she is not the primary villain, at least it's not portrayed that way, or that there even necessarily is a villain in this movie. Now, there are several characters who are villains in the comic books that are in this film, Cheetah being one of them. But there's nothing necessarily suggesting that they're going to have an antagonistic presence. Of course they are. They have to. At least one of them does. But maybe Kristen Wiig's character doesn't even turn evil in this one. Maybe she goes bad in a later movie. So maybe the reason why we haven't seen her all cheated out yet is because she's not going to be in this film. Possibility. Again, I don't know these things. But I'm throwing this out there because I want to know. It's an interesting coincidence to me that such a huge delay happened, especially when we all know how long it took them to remove a mustache. Maybe, just in the attempts to avoid all the backlash that they were getting from seeing the Cats trailer, maybe DC and Warner Bros. Figure, let's change the ending. Maybe this Kristen Wiig reveal we gotta work on. Maybe we gotta undo the CGI Cheetah thing. Maybe we gotta refilm her. Maybe we gotta do something. Throwing that out there, just wondering if perhaps Cats is responsible for us not getting Kristen Wiig as Cheetah the way we want to see Cheetah. And maybe even maybe if it's not, maybe this is something we should consider. I also want to throw it out there to you guys. If she does get all cheated out at the end in CGI, in gloriously terrible CGI fashion, maybe Cats should be a warning sign to Wonder Woman that they shouldn't go that route. How would you like to see Cheetah represented? So here's the other part of the equation, the other part of this conversation I want to know from you guys in the Know It All Nation. I want to know, what do we do with this? We know there's a lot of backlash from Cats. We get it. We get that this is... Look, first of all, I don't know why the play was so successful. Like, as a kid, I never figured that out. I'm like, why do people care about this play? And the fact that anyone was crazy enough to make this into a movie and then expected it to do well. Yeah, of course this bombed. Yeah, why wouldn't it have? But considering the backlash and the bombing of the movie, should DC not go full-blown Cheetah? Should they not turn Kristen Wiig into, Cheetah? Should we worry about this? Let's catch up with the comments before I go into some additional pointers here about this subject. Okay, so Arthur Price says, because they didn't want to get any part of the open. Oh, no, not that. I think this premise is a bit of a stretch. I don't think so. I think we're on to something. Since we're on the subject of comics, Dave, how do you feel about J.J. Abrams getting the green light to produce and direct Justice League Dark? I like J.J. I mean, a lot of people want to complain about him. Look, and I finally saw the new Star Wars movie. Yeah, I get it. It wasn't great, but I like J.J. Instead, just like I really wish JJ went onto the MCU side of things, but I get that DC probably could use him a little bit more, so I'm not surprised there. And instead of Justice League Dark, I would rather see him just do a regular Justice League movie or a less obscure property, because especially with Justice League Dark, that's an opportunity to get someone more magic and the occult, where we could get a director that's more into like horror and stuff like that, where JJ with his sci-fi stuff, and I know that's not all he does, and I know he's perfectly capable of doing scarier elements, but still, I prefer JJ with his sci-fi or his action. Either Mission Impossible and Alias and all that stuff, or sci-fi stuff like Star Trek and Star Wars. I'd rather him do that. At least the first Star Wars movie directed. All right, so going on. So while we're on this subject, so now I'm turning it over to you. Do you think that the reception of the film Cats should affect how we see the ending of Wonder Woman, or how we see Cheetah portrayed in the film Wonder Woman? Should Cheetah be a CGI cat creature, or should she just be her? Should Kristen Wiig just be Kristen Wiig? We'll call her Cheetah, but she won't look like one. Or do we want light makeup where we just get a few spots? Or do we go full cat mode? Like, what kind of things should we do with this? And again, should Cats the movie affect how we portray this? And the other thing I do want to bring up, because this is one more tidbit of information, is Patty Jenkins Patty Jenkins gave the director of this Wonder Woman film, the previous Wonder Woman film, and this one, she gave a great interview where she said, in her world, cheesy is not allowed to exist. The word cheesy does not exist, because she says that a lot of people, and I think she's right about this, a lot of people are afraid of being cheesy, afraid of coming across as cheesy, so they avoid a lot of things. And you'll see this a lot in Marvel, and there have been multiple people to criticize this about Marvel, is that Marvel will have a perfectly good moment or a perfectly good thing, and then they criticize it. They'll make fun of it. They'll poke fun out of it. That way, it's like, if we make fun of it first, now she didn't say all this, I'm adding to this, but it's like Marvel will do it where, oh, if we make fun of it first, then it's okay, because it's like we're aware of it, so we're going to just like back off on it. And it's like Marvel has this like, a great example of this is the X-Men film, the original X-Men film, where like Cyclops goes, "What do you expect? Yellow spandex?" Or when they made fun of the stretchy purple pants, and it's like they reference a lot of their own history, and they like tease it or they make fun of it because they're trying to avoid being cheesy. It's like, no, we know, we're aware of it, and so it's like, we make fun of it first, you can't make fun of it. And Marvel does have this aversion and fear of being cheesy. Like I even pointed out on an earlier video on this channel about like their weird aversion to hats, like Loki just can't wear his horn helmet. Thor can never wear his winged hat, which I think is ridiculous. And Captain America keeps taking his hood off. Like, they have this weird thing about, like, headpieces. They just don't want anyone to wear them. Or, like, Wolverine in his hat, his face mask, or or Hawkeye. There's tons of... And, yeah, Captain America does wear it, but he takes it off, like, all the time. And it's just one of those things. It's like, why do they have this aversion to hats? Do they think these hats are goofy? It's like, it's not that big of a deal. So Marvel is like so afraid of being seen as cheesy or campy or goofy. Like, they avoid so many things. But Patty Jenkins has said, again, now going back to what Patty has said, she said that cheesy doesn't exist in her world, because she believes if you commit to something, if you don't second guess yourself, if you don't double back and like feel the need to like poke fun at it, or not really commit to it full all the way and just say, haha, we're just joking. It's a silly costume, we're just joking. If you just commit to something, the audience will believe it, because it's sincerity, it's earnest, it's real. Okay, so if you commit to something, that's what it takes. And other people have said too, like the director of First Class, that if you have good enough actors, the people will believe anything. Like, nothing seems silly when you have actors who are really good at acting and committing to it and reacting to it. And so the same idea goes where she doesn't believe the word cheesy exists in her world. And I love that, and I think it's beautiful. But it makes me wonder, could the possibility be of a CGI cat person not being cheesy in Patty Jenkins' world? Maybe this is an occasion where maybe the cheesy radar needs to exist, because you need to know that it is a problem sometimes. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe Patty Jenkins can make anything work. It's also a possibility. Maybe she's that good. Maybe she is that G. Maybe it can happen. Throwing that out there. And also, on top of all that, let's also remember something else, where Patty Jenkins also said, as a female director, it is much harder for her, because if something fails, they get a lot of blame for it. Female directors are blamed a lot more in the industry. At least that's the way it appears to be. And when she says that, I believe her. A great example for me is Penny Marshall, the director Penny Marshall. She was, big success on TV, and then she moved on to directing. She directed A League of Their Own. Great film. The last movie she ever directed was her next film after that, the film Renaissance Man, starring Danny DeVito, and it bombed. They re-released it. It was a comedy, and then they tried to re-release it as a serious movie, and they renamed it, and it still bombed. Just trying to recoup their losses. Now, personally, I love that movie, okay? I don't know why it didn't do better. I think that movie is awesome, okay? I love that movie. Nobody ever talks about it. I love that movie. Let's just put that out there. I watch it like all the time. I've watched it like 1 billion times. Anyway, that movie bombed. And as a result, Penny Marshall hasn't directed anything since. Now, I don't know how much of it has to do with the career, her personal journey, and all that, but it is an interesting fact or is an interesting observation, is that when we see female directors who make a movie that isn't as successful as the studios are hoping for, that they kind of get their career trajectory drastically changes for the worse, and it's not. I don't think it's fair. So, considering that, I believe that Patty is definitely smart enough to be aware of all the risks she's taking and all the potential harm that she has to and how much she has at risk, that she has to make sure things work, and that there is more pressure on her. And she's aware of those things, as she said in interviews. It's unfortunate. I'm not saying it's right, but it does seem to be, I do believe she is 100% accurate in that assessment. So with that being said, perhaps early warning light of Cats being as horrendously panned as it was, or people not vibing this whole cat movie thing, maybe it caused her to second guess her thing. So maybe that was part of the delay. Who knows? Just throwing this out there as speculation. So let's catch up with the comments before we call it a day. Let's see what's going on. Okay, so Vinny Montoya says, and Ron Hawthorne says, I think when the pay that much for actors, the faces should be seen. Okay, you know what? That's a pretty good point. Ron Hawthorne, as always, chiming in with some brilliance. Ron Hawthorne says that yes. And you know what? A lot of people point that out and said that about Tom Holland's Spider-Man, said that about Chris Evans. Some people also point out, it's like, hey, Chris Evans is a good-looking guy. Yeah, take that thing off to, show the handsome face. Or whatever like that. We get that a lot, that you're paying for the actors so their faces should be seen. I don't 100% agree with that. It's a good point. It's a valid argument, but I don't think it's a necessary thing that we see their faces. I think sometimes we're iron and play the role. But I get it. I hear that argument a lot, and I understand it, okay? I don't agree with it, but I don't, harshly disagree with it. But let's go to Kristen Wiig. How much CGI do we need? Because let's put it this way. Cats, the film, it didn't make them look as cat-like. It mostly retained their faces so they were identifiable and recognizable for the face. Yeah, there's still some CGI coloring over it, but that's an example. We got to see the face. Does that work? I don't know. But yeah, good point that we bring up with this one. Let me know. So thank you for the thumbs up, by the way. If you aren't here live, let me know in the comments. Do you think this hypothesis, this statement holds water? And again, thank you for being here so much. Quick show today. Just had to get this piece of speculation out there. And don't forget, keep your notifications on. Make sure that you're subscribed to this channel. And also make sure that your notifications are working, because the live stream for Wrestling Show may be at a different time period today. It's going to be a little rough. But let us know what's going on. And as always, Dave knows.